snaking and shimmying. It was usually icy, but the magic of being first in is what I remember. We had the place to ourselves, we would say with satisfaction afterwards over breakfast. Our communion with the water was all the more delightful for being free of charge. It was my first taste of unofficial swimming. Years later, driven mad by the heat one sultry summer night, a party of us clambered over the low fence of the old open-air pool at Dis in Norfolk. We joined other silent, informal swimmers who had somehow stolen in, hurdling the dormant turnstiles, and now loomed past us in the water, only to disappear again into the darkness like characters from under milkwood. Such indelible swims are like dreams, and have the same profound effect on the mind and spirit. In the night sea at Walberswick, I have seen bodies fiery with phosphorescent plankton, striking through the neon waves like dragons. The more I thought about it, the more obsessed I became with the idea of a swimming journey. I started to dream ever more exclusively of water. Swimming and dreaming were becoming indistinguishable. I grew convinced that following water, flowing with it, would be a way of getting under the skin of things, of learning something new. I might learn about myself, too. In water, all possibilities seemed infinitely extended. Free of the tyranny of gravity and the weight of the atmosphere, I found myself in the wide-eyed condition described by the Australian poet Les Murray when he said, "I'm only interested in everything." The enterprise began to feel like some medieval quest. When Merlin turns the future King Arthur into a fish as part of his education in The Sword in the Stone, T.H. White says, he could do what men always wanted to do, that is, fly. There is practically no difference between flying in the water and flying in the air. It was like the dreams people have. When you swim, you feel your body for what it mostly is, water, and it begins to move with the water around it. No wonder we feel such sympathy for beached whales. We are beached at birth ourselves. To swim is to experience how it was before you were born. Once in the water, you're immersed in an intensely private world, as you were in the womb. These amniotic waters are both utterly safe and yet terrifying, for at birth anything could go wrong, and you're assailed by all kinds of unknown forces over which you have no control. This may account for the anxieties every swimmer experiences from time to time in deep water. A swallow dive off the highboard into the void is an image that brings together all the contradictions of birth. The swimmer experiences the terror and the bliss of being born. So, swimming is a rite of passage, a crossing of boundaries, the line of the shore, the bank of the river, the edge of the pool, the surface itself. When you enter the water, something like metamorphosis happens. Leaving the land behind, you go through the looking-glass surface and enter a new world, in which survival, not ambition or desire, is the dominant aim. The lifeguards at the pool or the beach remind you of the thin line between waving and drowning. You see and experience things when you're swimming in a way that is completely different from any other. You are in nature, part and parcel of it, in a far more complete and intense way than on dry land, and your sense of the present is overwhelming. In wild water, you are on equal terms with the animal world around you, in every sense on the same level. As a swimmer, I can go right up to a frog in the water, and it will show more curiosity than fear. The damselflies and dragonflies that crowd the surface of the moat pointedly ignore me, just taking off for a moment to allow me to go by, then landing again in my wake. Natural water has always held the magical power to cure. Somehow or other, it transmits its own self-regenerating powers to the swimmer. I can dive in with a long face and what feels like a terminal case of depression, and come out a whistling idiot. There is a feeling of absolute freedom and wildness that comes with the sheer liberation of nakedness as well as weightlessness in natural water, and it leads to a deep bond with the bathing place. Most of us live in a world where more and more places and things are signposted, labelled, and officially interpreted. There is something about all this that is turning the reality of things into virtual reality. It's the reason why walking, cycling, and swimming will always be